What is going on? Man. We are back in black in the building. Shout out to everybody out there at the Court Plantation. Shout out to my brother David from No Compromise. James Youngblood, Georgia, Texas in the building. Shawnee, Erica, Tasha, everybody out there. Mariah, Lil Angie, all y'all. Tanya. Hey, man, everybody out there I fuck with, man. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to you. Man, we made it back another day. Man, we gonna get into it, man. This is gonna be a real quick one, but funny. I'm trying not to laugh, man. But this shit's funny. It's about Michael Orr, the Baltimore Ravens football player, which movie was based off his life, The Blind Side. So we're gonna get into it. Let's talk about it. Oh man. See, I'll give y'all my. I'll talk about it when I'm done reading this news. But I think this is gonna be very, very interesting. All right, let's see. So I'm gonna read some stuff, and let's see. Okay, retired NFL star Michael Orr. Hold on, let's see if we get. Do they got audio? Let's see if they got audio. Because they got audio. I just rather play the audio. But I think it's funny. And I just really think it's funny, man. That white knight syndrome, that white knight hoax. You know, I'm going to talk about all of that. And I can't wait to get David's perspective on this. Because I know he going to be like, yep. Here, let's see.
And after all these years?
Yeah, they did. And they said this has been kind of a long process for Michael Orr. Like going back to when the movie was made, Michael Orr always suspected that somebody was making money. And, you know, and the family was making money on the film. But whenever he asked about it, he was deflected. He was told, talk to this person or talk to that person. And moreover, more to the point, he was beginning his NFL career once the movie hit. And so he was making his own money, and he, you know, his attorney talked about how consuming, you know, being a football player is. So he didn't really take the time to dig into it, even though this was a suspicion that he kind of harbored in the back of his mind, and something he didn't really pursue until his career ended in 2016.
And can you characterize how difficult it was for Orr to take this step?
I mean, his attorney says he really anguished about this thing. You know, despite all of this that you read in the lawsuit, you know, he had a reservoir of respect for the Tuohys, a reservoir of love really for them, you know, because his life had been so chaotic, and they did indeed take him in. But he, at some point, felt that he had to go forward because the sense of betrayal was just so strong, you know. But it was a tough decision for him because he was close to the family. The attorney talks about, for example, Michael buying SJ, the son, his first car, and buying the daughter, Collins, helping her launch her cookie business. So this is how close to his family he was. So to sort of take this step was something that he really, really anguished over, and, you know, but decided he had to do.
And has there been any response from the Tuohy family?
No, and that's been disappointing. I've reached out to every number I can find for them because I think like everyone else, I'm curious to hear what they have to say for themselves after all of this. And they've built kind of their whole kind of public reputation on the idea that they've adopted Michael Orr. And now the story comes out, Michael Orr makes these allegations, and they've been silent.
Wow. Well, let's cut the music back on. I think that is funny. So, I'm going to read you something else. The Blindside brothers, Sean Tuohy Jr. claims Michael Orr threatened to go public in family group chat. Sean S.J. Tuohy attempted to shed light on his family's dynamic with Michael Orr, suggesting that the football player who inspired The Blind Side knew about Leanne Tuohy and Sean Tuohy being his conservators before this year. This is gonna be good. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh. I want to preface this by saying I love Mike at 16. I love Mike at 37, and I'll love him at 67. SJ began doing an appearance on Barstool Radio on Monday, August 14th. If he says he learned that in February, I find that hard to believe. I went back to our family group text to see what things have been said, and there's things back in 2020, 2021 that were like, if you guys give me this much, then I won't go public with things. And so I don't know if that's true. I think everyone learned in the past year about the conservative stuff because of Britney Spears, so maybe that's the case. Earlier on Monday, ESPN reported that Ori is taking legal action against Lee Ann and Sean, alleging that they never legally adopted him and instead convinced him to sign a document giving them legal authority to make business decisions for him in 2004, in which Ori is seeking a share of the profits, which he alleges are in the millions made from the 2009 movie. Both Dad, Sean, and little brother SJ denied making millions off The Blind Side, with Sean telling the Daily Memphian on Monday that everybody in the family got an equal share of $14,000 when The Blind Side author Michael Lewis wrote the book that will go on to inspire the film. SJ estimated that he received an additional $60,000 to $70,000 over the course of the last 4 or 5 years after the movie continued to make money. Man, if I had $2 million in my bank account, it would be in my email signature. Say, sign SJ to a multimillionaire. SJ told the Barstool host, I get it. Why he's mad, I completely understand. It's things that it'll play out on every public stage. You will never hear me say anything bad about Michael or in any capacity other than I'm upset that he feels that way that he does. I think some of the things that were mentioned in the probate or book or whatever, I don't necessarily agree with and or remember happening things like that. Okay. Or began living with the Tui family in high school after years in the foster care system. When asked when the relationship between his family and Orr started to deteriorate, SJ claimed there wasn't one moment, but things changed when Orr stopped playing football after several seasons in the NFL, and everything kind of fell down. I don't know the exact time. That'd be a question for him. There's obviously a time because you can go back and look at social media posts from 2015, 2016, 2017. Everything's fine and dandy, SJ said. I think it builds up over time for him, and it's hard. Acknowledging The Blind Side made a lot of money. SJ said he hopes Orr gets everything that's entitled to him legally, but doesn't think it's going to come in the form of the ESPN story. Obviously, he's the star of it. There's no story without him. He is the star of everything he's done in his life, as they said before, bringing up the SAG AFTRA strike, basically the SAG AFTRA strike, the Hollywood strike. The same thing these writers and actors are pissed about now. It's not crazy different. He wants more royalties. Hollywood is going to screw people. SJ went on to claim that the last he saw Orr in 2021 was texting him throughout the year, but not in the last couple of months, which makes sense now, as they included that he was accusatory of his parents to some extent when Orr first made his claims, but now believes everything is documented when it comes to the Tui family finances. Orr briefly addressed the lawsuit as it made headlines on Monday, sharing in a statement to the New York Post. I am disheartened by the revelation shared in the lawsuit today. This is a difficult situation for my family and me. I want to ask everyone to please respect our privacy at this time. For now, I will let the lawsuit speak for itself and will offer no further comments. Wow. All right. Now I'm going to give my take on it. First of all, the white knight hoax, the white knight syndrome, the dominant society, they are the epitome of the white knight syndrome, the white knight hoax. It's the illusion of inclusion. It's the, I'm going to do this so I want to be seen as the first white family to adopt a black kid and all this bullshit. Y'all got to understand, and y'all have to understand a lot of things. There's a purpose behind sometimes people wanting to adopt people and take in a kid that's 16 years old. And I'm pretty sure there was a lot of things that was going on behind the scenes that we don't know. The thing is, if he was playing football, he probably wasn't really too much paying attention to it. But what I've learned about that movie is the dominant society always love to play the savior when it comes to black folk. They always got to play the savior. They can't never play the enemy. And if they play the enemy, they still save you in any picture that they have. We have to understand this. When you start smiling with them and doing all these things and you don't get the business, you know, they will do this. They will turn the table. You heard the brother, oh, well, you know, he stopped playing football, so that's why. Basically, he's saying you didn't spend your money right, so now you want to come to us. See, that's the illusion of inclusion. See, they was all head over heels for you when that movie came out and it gave them good press and good imagery. Now you're not playing football. They basically threw his ass under the bus and was like, oh, his ass is broke. So now he coming after us. So they have just separated him instead of coalescing around him and being like, look, we need to talk. Like, let's figure this shit out. Because, man, we wouldn't do that to you. No. That brother comes out and says, oh, well, basically, it's a broke nigga. So now he's trying to come after our family money. But don't they got money? Don't they own Taco Bell franchises and shit like that? See, that Leanne to it, whatever, she's a bullshit motherfucker. I remember on Tariq Nasheed's show, he talked about that shit too. They had a big ass article, and she had these black kids in Taco Bell and like did a photo op with their ass, but she was really interrogating their asses and then tried to photo op with them. And I remember Tariq Nasheed, them dudes called his show and basically threw that bitch under the bus and was like, that bitch is full of shit. She a racist motherfucker. See, just like Colin Kaepernick's parents. Just because they adopted Colin Kaepernick doesn't mean that they don't uphold the system of racism and white supremacy. Just because you got black friends, when you see, the dominant society with black friends, that doesn't mean that they're for replacing that system with a system of justice. That just means that they know how to tolerate you. Neely Fuller Jr. talks about this in the compensatory counter-racist code of ethics. I got to get on my David from No Compromise shit right now. Let me get on that shit. In that book, he talks about when white supremacists are arguing, unless they're arguing about replacing the system of racism and white supremacy and establishing the system of justice, then that's just two white supremacists arguing about who's the bigger slave master. So, when you're dealing with this family, the Tui family, they're going to protect their own, and they're going to protect their assets and what they got going on. And they didn't have to publicly humiliate him. All they got to do is say, well, we took you in when you didn't have shit, nigga. And there's a lot of basis to his claim, a lot of validity. Y'all having him sign shit. I was watching the Duggars. He did that same shit to his daughters. He made them sign some shit where he was conservative over any legal action that takes place, and he gets all the money and not them. So, the dominant society will pull it on each other too. Here's the difference. They'll go behind closed doors and break bread with each other after it's all said and done. They just ain't gonna break bread with you. And I'm pretty sure Michael or his family and people around him are probably like, hey bro, you might want to go look at the money that was made off that film. Because it's based off you, but you don't know who was collecting all that money, especially if you haven't seen a dime. And for that brother to come out and be like, oh, wow, he stopped playing football, so, things have changed. And there was a text message that said you can fabricate text messages. So I don't want to hear that shit. That's how them motherfuckers didn't give a fuck about him, because they was quick to throw his ass under the bus intellectually. Well, ever since he stopped playing football, basically, translation, ever since this motherfucker stopped playing football and he ain't making no money, now he want to come after our family money. That's what it is. And let me dress it up with, we'll always love him, no matter if he's 16 or he's 67. Man, get the fuck out of here. Y'all photo op this nigga. He got onto the fucking hustle, and now he want his money. And let me tell you something. It's probably going to be a settlement. They going to end up settling out of court and making sure that it's going to be an NDA reached, and then they ain't going to fuck with him no more. Watch. And then they're going to be like, man, we should have listened to our white friends and told us not to adopt this nigga in the first place. I'm telling you, that's what the fuck is going to happen. Go read up on this case, man. This shit happens all the time, man. This ain't nothing new. R.I.P. to Magoo, man. I forgot to say that, but R.I.P. to Magoo from the Super Friends with Timbaland and Missy and all them. That brother's 50 years old. Sometimes you got to look at that, They had a lot of great success in the 90s, and I don't know Timbaland and Magoo's relationship, after that. But I wish, that we would start celebrating our brothers and sisters instead of attacking them and then having all these RIP moments once they're gone. You know what I mean? Like I said, the reason why you bringing up Magoo? Because we spend so much time tap dancing, shucking and jiving, buck dancing, and bugging our eyes for the dominant society, we don't even take the time to appreciate our fellow brother or sister. So, man, appreciate the people around you, man, and stay in your lane and handle your business, man. And go check out this Michael Oher story. And they are guilty, and they will probably settle out of court. Guilty, nigga. I'm out. Peace.